7, 6, 5, 4, 1.
Good evening, Philippines! Welcome to the Business Forum. Tonight, we're going to tackle about Singapore. Why are we going to tackle about Singapore when we're here in the Philippines? The answer is because Singapore is a big help to the economy. How? We'll talk about it later. But first, let's learn more about Singapore. Officially called the Republic of Singapore, is referred to as the Lion City, the Garden City, and the Red Dot, is the leading global city-state and island country in Southeast Asia. Singapore is a global commerce, financial, and transportation hub. Its standings include easiest place to do business according to the World Bank for 10 consecutive years, World's top international meeting city according to the UIA, city with the best investment potential according to the BERI, and second most competitive country, third largest foreign exchange center, fourth largest financial center, third largest oil refining and trading center, and one of the top 2 busiest container ports since the 1990s. Who is Lee Kuan Yew? Born in Singapore on September 16, 1923, he was the first Prime Minister in Singapore from 1959 to 1990, making him the longest-serving Prime Minister in history. During his long rule, Singapore became the most prosperous nation in Southeast Asia. Mr. Lee Kuan Yew fought for self-government from Singapore's British colonial masters and later led Singapore into merger with Malaysia. Believing that this was the best option for Singapore's future, when merger did not work out, he took Singapore out of Malaysia and built a nation from nothing during their most difficult years. He built up a strong defense capability to protect Singapore's sovereignty, a vibrant economy which created good jobs, a sound education system, and excellent infrastructure, housing, and environment. He transformed Singapore from a third world to first world country. Lee Kuan Yew was known to have statements about how the Filipinos had such soft and forgiving hearts. As quoted, "It's a soft, forgiving culture. Only in the Philippines could a leader like Ferdinand Marcos, who pillaged his country for over 20 years, still be considered for a national burial. Insignificant amounts of the loot have been recovered, yet his wife and children were allowed to return and engage in politics." End of quote. So how is Singapore being a big help to the Philippines? Singapore is one of the Philippines' most vital trading partners, presently ranking as the country's third largest source of investments. Currently, the Philippines is promoting the following industries in Singapore: infrastructure, PPP and energy, food and agribusiness, aerospace, electronics, shipbuilding, tourism facilities and services, and IT services. Singapore helps the Philippines by investing on its projects, as shown in this presentation. Welcome back to Business Forum. Now, we will talk about how Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew transformed his country into a business haven in Asia and as a financeman. How his administration was able to make different policies and procedures regarding their banking system. Our guests for tonight both have something in common. They are both bankers and products of Harvard University in Boston, Massachusetts. One from Offshore Bank and Development Bank of Singapore, she's a Vice President in Corporate Accounts, Ms. Nicole De Rosas. The other one from our local bank and Metrobank main office in Makati, Ms. Clarice Gregorio, also Vice President in the Legal Department. Good evening, ladies. Welcome to the Business Forum.
Thank you for having us here.
First, let's talk about the contributions of Prime Minister Lee in addressing the problems regarding on how to adopt the 7 great nations' policies in banking.
Since the late Lee Kuan Yew was a financiman, he was able to remove the corruption or red tape in Singapore, and he was able to emulate the banking system of the 7 great nations. DBS is now trading bank, and we can cater transaction from different part of the world. we can lend funds to a project proponent as long as he or she can comply to our procedures.
So what will be the participation of our local banks here in the Philippines in regards with the bank-to-bank procedures?
People with tangible assets like properties can be converted into cash funds. There is a project proponent who can help the property owner to lodge their property and project inside the bank.
So what will be the requirements?
The following requirements that you need to submit are certified true copy of the title, tax declaration, vicinity map, feasibility of the project and development plan, and after the approval of the board, the appraised value of the property will be released.
She is an inventor of an application for Apple computers. She's a Filipina who wants to set up her factory but she doesn't have a property. How can you help her?
I'm Andrea Tao, an inventor of an application for Apple computers, and my clients are Microsoft and Google. These two giants companies expressed interest to purchase my application.
Our other guest is Ms. Glenda Cabio, a property owner willing to set up her property to the project proponent.
Yes, Miss Andrada, I'm willing to tie up my property with a project proponent because I really believe in her invention regarding application and her clients, Google and Microsoft.
The property owner and the project proponent will become signatories and they should sign the contract inside the bank. Both of them can borrow funds from us, and since the property is a commercial and industrial, we can release funds around 50 to 60% of the appraised value.
So what will be the role of DBS?
Singapore is now the third investor in the Philippines, and some mutual funds from our bank will make a due diligence by making a bank-to-bank procedure or MT-799. Since the property owner and the project proponent wants to borrow again to set up the factory for the application for Microsoft and Google, our bank can lend their funds because it is a viable project and we can transfer the funds by using money transfer or MT-760. Through Metrobank, DBS can help them return the borrowed funds in 1 year and day by enrolling the borrowed funds in our platform. DBS can perform as long as Philippine banks can understand the SWIFT money transfer procedure. We can be a big help for developing countries like the Philippines.
If there are tangible assets like properties and intangible assets like invention, it can be signatories to make the project feasible.
I agreed to sign the contract for my friend because I really believe in her invention and I know we can deliver and pay our debts to DBS because of our clients Google, Microsoft, and soon Apple.
If you're a startup company, don't hesitate to look for an investor here in the Philippines. Like what happened to me, I invited my friend to become my partner. Don't stop believing in dreaming.
What? More Moral of this story, don't buy cars in Singapore.
So I understand you're looking to get finance to buy a car today.
Yes, we'd like to start a family and we're just looking for a vehicle more reliable, you know?
Fantastic. You came to the right place. Let me get you started with some paperwork.
By the way, I should mention, we have bad credit.
You're saying you have bad credit?
Well, yeah, sort of. Basically,
You're saying you have bad credit? We don't give money to people like you! You cockroaches, you guys are wasting my time! You see that? That's what you are! Garbage! What are you doing? You wasting me!
When conventional dealerships or banks can't help, Auto Credit Express can. Get pre-approved today. Apply online in about 3 minutes at aceapplication.com.
Good evening. We will tackle about investing dollar, the current condition of dollar, and lastly, future projected outlook of the Singapore dollar. Please welcome Ms. Andrea Lintal. She is a Vice President Foreign Exchange Market in Singapore.
Thank you, Miss Nicole, for having me here for this show.
So, you have heard a lot about Singapore and the safe haven currency, and wonder how you start investing in the currency.
You want to know how to get good returns while not having to wait forever? Well, we'll have some idea. For starters, Singapore is a city-state, meaning it's not much of a country anyway. But that is a part of the reason why it's such a much sought-after currency, with a reputation as the world's most business-friendly economy. Being among the world's top 5 foreign exchange trading centers, perhaps the first sector that comes to mind is the banking sector. Singapore is one of the world's largest foreign exchange market, and you what this translates into for the banking sector. Obviously, there is a big business down there as more and more people rush to bank in the country.
A favorite tourist destination for many, Singapore tourism sector is really upbeat now, and bound to do even how as the country establishes itself as a gateway to Asia and particularly in China.
You may prepare to invest in the country's airline industry, which is one of Singapore's fastest growing sectors of the economy. This is demand-driven sector, and you bet it is not about to slow down. And let me tell you why. In the coming years, there is going to be an even higher influx of people into the country, seeking this much heard about opportunities to invest. So, this is one sector that almost assures you of worthy returns and value for your money. It is not possible to exhaustively describe the opportunities in Singapore. Maybe just a sneak peek at it is what I can give. But you need to go and find where you are most comfortable investing in this. I insist, takes a lot of consultation. What I can assure is that if you are considering investing in Singapore, then you are on the right track. So, go ahead and put your money to good use.
Current condition of Singapore dollar. What can you say about this, Ms. Lintal?
No currency can brag of absolute growth and consistency and stability. The Singapore dollar is just about the ideal currency when it comes to the market such as this. Currently, trading 1.3 to 1.5 against the greenback, which as of last year is the third best performance of an Asian currency. It is easily a safe haven dollar for American investors. Perhaps the biggest contributing factor to this currency strength is the diverse economy. It is easy to notice that Singapore is not dependent on the traditional raw materials like oil and minerals, which are good sources of revenue, but can be very unreliable due to the fluctuation in the respective world's markets. The country instead depends on other more modern markets like tourism and airline industries, as well as foreign exchange, which have proved to be much more reliable exchange earners in recent economic times. This has propelled the Singapore dollar to being a formidable currency not just in Asia, but in the entire world. Recently, last year, the Monetary Authority of Singapore began an aggressive campaign of strengthening the Singapore dollar against other foreign currency in a bid to contain price inflation.
Currently, the Philippines is promoting the following industries in
Ano interest rate? Sige, wait.
game. 1, 2,
Because
3.
of our clients' Googles,
Google!
Oy, hindi na ako Singapore! May dalawa na kami!
Google? Ang dami naman rin Google. Sige, buksan
Video yan.
Buksan mo muna yun.
buksan mo na muna.
Sa pinto.
He was in the
Uy, grabe din ang pagkaganan mo.
Pati yung ano pinto, yan.
He was able to remove the corruption or red tape in Singapore, and he was able to emulate the banking system of the 7 great nations. DBS is now a trading bank and we can cater transactions from different parts of the world. Yes, ma'am.
At tapos
We
ito
can
na.
then pass the project proponent as long as he or she can comply to our procedures. Thank you very
Procedures,
much. Bye.
Per letter, babasahin mo yun.
Kasi may essay. Wala na ako sa'yo.
May left ka.
He was able
The following requirements that you need to submit are certified true copy of the title, tax declaration, vicinity map, general information sheet,
Patawa ka kami ako may nag-message sa Facebook.
Don't stop believing.
Good evening, ladies. Welcome to the Business Forum. Good evening, Marie.
okay, balik natin sa akin. Kami dalawa lang.
Welcome to the Rise of May Show.
Good evening, ladies. Welcome to the Business Forum. Good evening, Marie.